Okay, good evening. Welcome to episode 4 of Coronavirus Sessions. Firstly, we want to say well done to you, whatever you might be doing at whatever stage of remote learning. You're here, you've done a great job, You've done better than you thought, and well done you.
You're not alone, we're all fumbling our way through it.
We're all fumbling, yeah. I've become very much Principal Kristie and very bossy. I don't know if the kids are getting as much out of it as they should, but you know what? We're all finding our groove, and that's the biggest thing. Okay, so we did a survey monkey, so thank you to those people who gave their feedback, and we just asked some questions about what for you we haven't dealt with yet that you'd like to know more about. So the first thing that came up was a question about unresolved issues. What do we do with unresolved issues that are resurfacing at the moment with so much spare time to think? Mike?
So it's a tricky one to answer without knowing exactly what the issues are. But I think what this time in isolation is affording all of us an opportunity to think about, do we have relationships or tensions with people where we want to resolve them? So if the issue is around interpersonal tension, is there an opportunity to have a conversation? And often it could probably be more often than not, it's probably a little bit safer to have a conversation via Skype or telephone, unless the person's in your house. But if you have that conversation, if you choose to have the conversation, it's really important to be clear and non-emotional in expressing what your feelings are, so it's describing them rather than acting them out. And please make the time and the space for the other person to respond and share their feelings. So if there's an issue that needs to be resolved, the question implies you want a resolution, there needs to be dialogue. So be patient and kind and create space and listening for one another. That's one option. The other is if it can't be resolved or you can't sort of have it out or work it through, or fix it as such, then maybe just a really simple thing is just find someone you can talk to about it, that you can share how you're feeling, problem shared, problem halved. But as human beings, just being able to talk to someone about how you're feeling, who is objective but empathic and supportive, would be a really good first step.
Quick things I'll say there is if you're worried about your emotions taking over, which often happens with me, surprise, surprise, write it down. Write down your things you want to talk about. And the second thing is, with our governments at the moment, they've thrown a lot of money at mental health.
Yeah. So
there's so many people and lifelines you can ring just to talk, and someone will listen.
Well, and with counselling psychologists, you can do it all through Medicare. So you can get a referral, which they invariably call a mental health plan from your GP. You can do all this via Skype or WhatsApp or something along those lines. You can do it all from home, all via Medicare. It shouldn't have to cost you anything. So that's also worth looking at.
Another question that came up, so hopefully that answered what that person's question was. This was an interesting question. Someone answered as an introvert, saying during this time they're quite happy with the situation. And the question came up was, okay, they're happy, but how might extroverts be feeling at the moment? So Mike, you're an introvert. I'm an extrovert. And our boys are one of each. So maybe we can talk about what the difference is first, and then how it's impacting. Or you can talk about introverts.
Well,
I'll talk about extroverts.
I think what's really important for people to think about introverts is it's not an absence of social skills or emotional intelligence or anything, or even interest in social interaction. It's got nothing to do with it, any more than extroverts are necessarily imbued with high EQ or any of those sorts of things. What the key to introverts is understanding where they get their energy from, and introverts get their energy from by having time to themselves, to be able to reflect, to be able to be introspective, have some time out on their own. That's where we get our energy from. That doesn't mean we don't like social interaction or enjoy friendships. We do. I love all that stuff, but I do need time out for myself. So for me, this has been okay. I haven't actually minded too much. I do miss some social interactions, but not too much. I'm quite happy at home. But you're the extrovert, so how are you feeling?
Well, first I want to say Jack's an introvert.
Yeah.
So he needs time out in his day, which is just him.
Mm-hmm.
And we put that into his day somewhere. We don't regiment it, but he has time, and we call it quiet time, that he can play on his own. For me, I'm an extrovert, so I love being around people. I'm around the 3 same people all the time at the moment, who I love dearly, but I need more. I need a range of conversation. I need lots of different people. So the way I'm filling that cup is lots of different Zooms, getting different groups of friends across my life span together, family, really interacting. And it's usually just me and the computer. And as Jack said before, oh, Mum, you're Zooming every night. Well, probably to him that feels like it, but I need that variety of person, conversation, stimulation, and I really find that hard at the moment. So I'm really seeking out ways, and we're trying to support each other too, like to support you having your own recharge time by going for bike rides on your own, doing stuff that fills your cup, which is very different to how I fill my cup, because give me all the people, give me all the different conversation. And Henry is the same as me. So therefore his need for play during the day is all about someone else. You know, it's a quiet time to him is almost like a punishment, because he thrives off the energy of others. So yeah, that's us, but that could help explain what's happening.
But just think about it. Where do you get your energy from? Do you get it from other people, or do you get it by having time out for yourself? Just allow enough and create enough opportunity to stoke the fires of where you get your energy from. And if you've got differences, like your partner's the opposite of you, seek to find ways where you can support them with what they need, which may not necessarily be what you need. That's basically it.
Okay, the next question was, that came up in the survey was, how do we explain what is happening to young kids at the moment?
It's a really important question, and I think 3 things. Be honest, because kids will find out anyway. Our kids work it out pretty much on their own for the most part. Be positive, be focusing on solutions and positive things that are coming through, not just all doom and gloom. So be honest, be positive. But how much depth you go into, I think it really should be guided by the types of questions your kids are asking. So again, with Henry, who's only 5, he asks a few questions like, can you die from it? How do we prevent it? You know, am I going to die from it? He was asking those questions. It's honest with him. And then that was pretty much all he wanted to know, and he wanted to go off and play. Jack, who's 8.5, he piped up one day, goes and said, Mum, Dad, Australia must be really tired. And I said, why do you say that? Well, we've had the fires, then we had the floods, and now we've got the coronavirus. Okay, that's a pretty powerful insight. So we had a conversation led by his level of insight and interest and curiosity in the questions he was asking. So be led by them, but be honest and be positive.
And I think even the teacher in me feels with that, it's okay to say to them, I don't really know myself. You know, you don't have to give all the answers. Okay, so tonight we're trying to focus on, there are all the questions that came up, but tonight we're really trying to focus on how we can continue that message of hope. So how do we preserve and tune into our positive energy for this duration? So what are we doing in terms of our structure?
Well, we've got structure that we have to follow in terms of supporting our children with their schooling, but in terms of my structure, I'm really a couple of things. I'm devoting quite a bit of energy in things I'm interested in that I haven't had time to do, like reading a number of books, doing family tree research. So I've gone back to the 1400s in 2 days. It's been amazing. But also limiting how much news and social media I let come in at me, because so much of it's pretty heady. So I just restrict. I don't deny myself information, but I restrict the sources and I restrict the amount of time that I give to it so that it doesn't deplete my energy and I can focus on the things that give me energy.
Yeah, sort of protecting yourself, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, okay. So this, yep.
But for you, what works for you?
For my energy, I think I need to keep things really simple. Like I like to think a lot. I like to think very deeply about things. Not helping a great deal at the moment, but I need to filter where I get my news from. So I often wait till Mike reads it. We don't watch news in our house because as soon as you turn it on, there's always some dramatic, awful thing. We tend to read our news so you can process it. So I let you process it and then give me the updates because I just feel that's not where my energy should be at the moment. I don't want to be ignorant. I just want to be aware and have the main headlines. I don't want to be weighed down. It doesn't help me to have it all in my head.
So expanding on structure and intellectual needs. Am I doing enough for our kids in terms of supporting their online learning?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of tag teaming a bit. So Mike will teach the boys the math lessons and I'll teach English lessons. I'm an English teacher. Doesn't really help when you've been teaching Year 10 Macbeth when you have to teach grade 3 and
What's a suffix?
but
Yep.
you know, you get there. But I think it's lowering your expectations of how much they're putting out.
Yeah.
There's a really great child psychologist online, Dr. Justin Coulson, who talks a lot about, you know, primary kids only need a couple of hours. The teachers that we've got at our school have provided amazing rundowns of what to do. But for me, out of that, to preserve my own energy, I just focus, what are the skills? We may not keep up with all the work output, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. If at the end of this term it says, due to coronavirus or remote learning, we didn't complete everything, that's okay. That's for our primary kids, but that's where we're at because they're not studying away on their own for hours like you would expect of, say, a high school student. And that's okay. So we've made peace with that for us. Yeah.
What about the social side from our structure? So you talked a little bit about your Friends Who Wine, Zoom, Coffee Club via Zoom, Book Club.
Book club, yeah.
So how's that working for you?
Good. Sharing books has been really great. Sharing books with friends, local friends, keeping the conversation going about stuff that's not corona is really, really helpful for me. And I think helpful for friends too. I don't really surround myself with people who are competitive about what their child is achieving each day. Not into that. But I am surrounding myself with friends and good people who are just trying to find their groove, doing their best, and basically just, you know, and there's days as a teacher where you can have lesson fails and you go, that died in the arse, excuse my language, and you go, that was a really bad lesson, I'll never do that again. It's a bit like finding your groove as a parent who's teaching your kid at the moment. There are some days that won't go that great, and you know what? You don't have to push through. Friday, Jack did some great scaffolding and planning on a recount. I think it included reference to my butt crack. We left it in there, but the good thing was he was developing the skills. By the end of that, his brain was done. We didn't do any more.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because other days we'll do a bit more. Other days we won't follow everything. And you know what, as a teacher, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I think it's finding your own peace and finding your own groove with how to run the program that you've been given.
On the emotional side, I think what's been really helpful for me is to, although I've restricted how much time I put to reading the news and focusing on that, I'm looking for and listening out for all the positives. How many people are recovering? The infection rate has just flattened off dramatically, where Australia and New Zealand are in a pretty good spot compared to other countries. And there's light at the end of the tunnel with sport, and with movement and all these sorts of things. Don't want to go too quick, but there's a lot to be hopeful for, and hope's the key.
Yeah.
And then physical health's another really important one for keeping, well, for everything, but in particular our emotions, and supporting our emotions and dealing with stress, essentially. So you've got quite a few good ideas as to what's working there.
Well, we're kind of doing things like family bike rides, and one of us might go off just to get our own time. I'm doing online Pilates with the ladies at 16th Beach, who are awesome, and I get time to do that. There's also amazing, lovely local friends who are doing amazing stuff and really creative, like on Facebook, I know Asunta's got all this stretching and this wonderful self-care. That's amazing. She's building this amazing community there. I know Alex, one of the mums I worked with the Fate, she's started her own cook with her classes. There's so many people doing such positive things. You know, pay attention to those positive vibes out there.
Yeah, consciously put effort and energy into the things that help you feel good, be they intellectual, social, emotional, physical.
Is there anything else, or can I?
No.
I was going to share just a few little books very quickly because we wanted to not make this too long. But these are good little books that are a little bit escapism at the moment, but also help you and learn. This comes back to our introversion, extroversion. It's called Quiet. You can't see it, but it's called Quiet by Susan Cain, and it's awesome. This one taught me all about how to understand Mike and Jack as introverts. And it's helped me teach introverts better as a teacher. It's awesome. Such a good read.
We're not that complicated, honestly.
No. This is an awesome one too, because it's about regaining your power and understanding how introverts learn. That's great. I love Susan Cain. Awesome. This is another one that I read because I love all things psychology as a psychology teacher, and maybe marrying a psychologist too. A Visionary New Understanding of Happiness and Wellbeing. Peninsula Grammar, our local independent school, that is a big believer in Seligman's theories about flourishing. Really good. You know, how we can flourish in our everyday lives. If you're local, I'm happy to lend these to you. I wanted to try and be quick, yeah?
Yeah.
This is a really great one if you want to spice up your love life. We got given it by Tani and Rowan for our wedding. Hi, Tani and Rowan. 11 years ago, and it's really good. It's how you love and how you like to receive love. So I'm a words of affirmation person.
Yeah. So there's different love languages, and I know it. I'm like, the first time I saw the book, I went, oh. But there's one in there which I think is very common for a lot of men, and the way of expressing love for a lot of men is what's called acts of service, which is basically to do good things, helpful things for other people. And that is one where a lot of blokes probably struggling because their acts of service come in the form of being a provider, going to work, money into the bank, and food on the table, and those sorts of things. And when that ability has been taken away or challenged because of the isolation and the shutdown, that could be a really difficult one for your blokes to know how to express themselves. So think about that in terms of if you've got an issue you want to discuss with them, or if you want to tap in to see how they're feeling, be mindful as to how they might naturally sort of move to want to express themselves by doing something good. So maybe giving them jobs to do. They need that'll help them show their emotions, and it'll make it easier for them to talk. And
there's also a survey in here. So if you want to borrow this and you're local, you're welcome to. I might just erase our answers first, but maybe not. This is another one too. If you want to go all Buddhist, The Art of Happiness. This man's lovely. I saw him years ago speak, and we parked illegally in town, and we got a massive fine. and his talk was free, and he was just so calm and beautiful. So if you want a bit of calm and beautiful, The Art of Happiness. I'm not Buddhist, but hey, How to Think More About Sex. I think Mike might have put that in there. Pat, don't look at that. Alain de Botton, he's a, I think I said that right.
So British
He's a modern
philosopher.
day philosopher. It's a short book, so I don't know, might get you thinking. There's some great, good books for kids too. This is a whole series by Trace Moroney. When I'm Feeling Loved, When I'm Feeling Jealous, Kind, Lonely, Sad, Angry. I've only got the sad one, and it's an ex-library. But it's really good for helping little kids navigate their emotions. Really good series. Another one,
Key thing with kids and emotions and having a conversation, just ask them simple, open questions and allow them the time to reflect before they speak. Don't rush in to answer for them. So just be patient with their answers.
This is another one written actually by a child psychologist. She wrote a whole series. There's one on death called Life is Like the Wind. There's also another one called Internet is Like a Puddle. Playground is Like a Jungle. This one's Friendship is Like a Seesaw. Great when friendships change. And it's written with her knowledge there. So it's a really good, accessible read for kids. It's a children's book. And the last one, which is really important for all of us at the moment, is Be Kind. And as I said before, as a teacher and a mum, be kind to yourself. We're trying to do so much for our kids, but this can be nice just to read together and just, be kind.
I think when we get to the end of this whole shutdown and life does go back to whatever the new normal is, what's really important for us all to think about is in the future when you talk to each other about what you did and how you reacted, we all want to feel proud about how we conducted ourselves during this time. So think in the future, what would you like to be able to say about yourself during this time? Think about what that would look like and consciously build it into your everyday now.
Thank you for listening. We hope this wasn't too long because Mike said 10 minutes max. It's 22. But it's, shorter than an episode. Okay, much love to you all. Be kind to each other. Be kind to each other. We've got matching hairstyles in our COVID.
Not really. Take care.
Bye.